angry, I was sad, and because I talk the same way that I'm talking to you in there, I had to constantly say, hey, we fight in the suburbs too. Okay, let me find Jeff's number in your pager and it's over. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever. So I never went to the hole for fighting. I really never went to the hole for the things I was really doing, but I went to the hole. And I remember laying down in the hole, like, 70 some days, da 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 da. And clearly I had a different set of friends. I kept them throughout my bit. I just didn't jam with them like I used to. So let me tell you another thing about the hole. We're screaming, we're up all night. It's cracking. That's where all your friends, we want to hear exactly what you did to get down there, what led up to it. Then you have girlfriends and they're talking in code, which is the super, like A, 6, 3, 5, all night long. There's a rap, listen, clearly I still listen to rap, but I remember Tupac said, screaming all night, wishing they stopped. That's a thing. So back to mental health. I'm already in a turtle suit. I have nothing going for me. I'm at the lowest of the low. And now all these dunderheads, that's what my dad used to say, dunderheads, we're down there cutting up because we have nothing else to do but cut up. Now, let me tell you, I came up out of that funk of being angry, and I did about 8 years of good time and stayed out of trouble. But I know this. And then we'd have somebody down the hall who was in the turtle suit. And clearly, sometimes people didn't have the nicest things to say. Other times, let me tell you, the hole was a prayerful place. We'd be praying over them. You know what I'm saying? Like we would try and support the people depending on how their behavior was, So there is a community inside a community. But I'll tell you, one of the worst things that can ever happen to a person that is housed in the Department of Corrections is to go on suicide watch.
It is worse than regular.
Oh, there's nothing worse, I would say.
Nothing.
Unless you're in TCU, which is what we called it, or the infirmary fighting for your life, because then you got to fight for your life.
Stacey, I would like to go back to when you spoke about this doctor that you had, right?
Yeah.
This seemed like a really good transitional moment for you, where things were getting better for you a little bit. Could you still talk about that? And did you have that doctor upon your release? And how was your release?
So after I got shipped out of Bedford, which the draft is traumatic in and of itself, because, you have to learn a whole new set of rules. All the people that okay, I got this under control. Like, I know what I'm doing. And then they ship you out halfway across the state and you don't know anybody. And you have to start all over again. And that's where I got the weird serial killer vibe doctor. And because I wouldn't talk to him, they put me on suicide watch, and it was ongoing. And I had written her a letter and can I be your patient? But can we call you and you could be my doctor? And I never got a response from her, but I just stopped going to get mental health care, and I just toughed it out for the majority of that bid, that was torture. But after I got out, I did look for her, and I did send her a thank you note. I was like, she had a common name, but I was like, I think you were my doctor. And if you worked at this place, if you worked at Bedford Hills during this time, it was really life-changing for me. And thank you. But I have no idea where she is. I do get, good care now. I mean, we could go on for I've got mental health stories for days. Some of them are funny, but one of them, when I was on parole, this is really funny. And then, and there's a little Karen in here too. So I had just gotten released on a parole violation, and I had to fight. I had to fight to be able to drive. I had to fight to be able to have a car. I had to fight to get a job that parole would approve. Parole was totally happy with me just living in a bed bug infested boarding house, collecting, not lying, collecting cans for bus fare to try to survive. the boarding house takes all of your money. It was just like very like Dickensian, really. And so I was just like, I'm not, you can send me back to prison because at least at prison I don't have bed bugs. So, and then I can start over again and go somewhere else. So going like that was a calculated move. And I'm like, just send me back to prison. And within a
Wow,
week, she found a place that she would approve that I could live in, but I had to push them. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's sad.
so, so I go in on a violation and I come back out. And and I all the progress that I had made, they were like, it doesn't count. Like, we're not gonna let you drive, we're not gonna let like all of those things.
Yeah.
And my son is like 90 miles away. Like, I'm not gonna see and that night I'd asked for a travel pass to leave the county because anytime you left the county, you had to get a travel pass then. It's changed now. But
That's nice.
they wouldn't give me a travel pass and they wanted my curfew to be 7 p.m. instead of 8 p.m. What the hell? What can you do and be home by 7 o'clock? And anyway, so I called my therapist and I'm like, I'm having a really hard time with this. And they said that I can't drive. And like I had broken, like they broke me in that parole office. They broke
Mm-hmm.
and I thought that they were like going to be gunning for me. I thought they would be looking for my car. I'm like hiding under the dashboard of the passenger side of the car, calling my therapist like this, like they can't see me in here because they're going to arrest me. They're going to send me back to prison. And then I was like, but maybe I should go back to prison because like if I don't go see my son, he's going to be so disappointed. Like I said I would see him. Like I just came home. Like I can't deal with this kind of rejection. And so I go home and the cops are waiting for me because the therapist was afraid I was going to unalive myself. So
Mm,
she called 911, which the last thing I need are more cops because I have no idea they
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right.
right,
And
right.
so I just decided I was just going to go like walk in the house, and they had other ideas. And I wound up getting tased.
Oh my God.
I
That
was like,
that's
no, I don't have to do any of it. No, I don't.
oh man, that's terrible.
And
I'm glad you could laugh about it too
no, it
now.
was
That's
I'm
terrible.
glad you're here to tell that story
and the
too.
officer's like, just come with me. I was like, that never ends well. No, I don't go with cops, you know, and I'm like cursing at him and stuff. He was like, well, you can go with me or you can go in the ambulance. And I was like, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not. And so then I turned to go back in the house. And so, you know, they have to get those prods out of you after they tase you. And he was like, well, now you have to take the ambulance because they have to pull those things. So you did this to yourself. But I'm just,
Oh man, that's terrible.
but but so I didn't know that my therapist had called the cops. And so the cops went looking for me and they told the cops that the last known place I was the parole office. So the cops went to the parole office to find me.
Oh, they were gonna take you to jail at the parole office.
Yeah, well, that's what I would have thought. Like, I would have lost it if the cops showed up looking for me at parole. But when they were like, no, we have to do a welfare check, when parole realized that the way that they had treated me resulted in my therapist afraid that I was going to unalive myself from what happened in that office,
Mhm.
they stopped treating me like an animal. They
Oh
stopped.
my gosh. So you had to get tased for that to happen. That's terrible. That's super terrible. But I just really feel like, Eric, I appreciate the opportunity to come on here. Stacy, what a pleasure to meet you. And I
No
think
question.
just like this show, there needs to be more focus on mental health. There needs to be more focus on the stories of Stacy, on the stories of me that if it would have came in my mind, cut it. No way I'm going down like that. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? Like,
That's
because you
right.
know how terrible it is. We really just got to keep on addressing mental health, and we have to address it from the inside to the outside. Unfortunately, that gentleman that you interviewed, we know he's in distress. He's got a lot of stuff going on right now. Involved once again in the criminal justice system. There's something going on with not addressing mental health. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, Stacy, we press upon Tom now, but
Yeah.
I do want you to you know,
I want her to come on again, and I
continue
want to talk to
to share.
Stacy.
That's right, no question. You heard, or we can be on Sarita Talks. You can come on
Oh
Sarita Talk
yes,
and speak with her as
yeah,
well. I would like to talk about what you're doing now too, out in the community. So
yeah.
I would definitely love for us to share that. If we could have you on sooner than later, you know, I definitely would love to have you back. If you could share with our audience, um, how can we get in touch with you if people wanted to get in touch with you? If you have any, websites, and you could even talk a little bit about what you're doing now,
Yeah, that'd be
briefly,
awesome.
Right now or later?
No,
right
tell us
now.
what you're doing right now. Yeah.
Oh, so now I do a couple of things. So my 9 to 5 is so I got out. I did finally get an education. I now have an MBA in
Nice.
sustainability with minors in nonprofit management, data analytics,
Yes.
and social entrepreneurship. And
Congratulations.
thank you. And there's fewer than 100 people in this country who got an MBA after they were released, and I would really love to build a community of us where we can practice, apply our trade in this ecosystem, and get more more of that knowledge embedded in
Absolutely.
our community.
That's right. Stacy, tell us how to get a hold of you.
Stacy Lynn Burnett at Gmail. I'm also that's probably the easiest way, or Stacy.Burnett at Ithaca